Yeah, look, I think having some plans, having some goals
Mm.
is super important, right? We are creatures that require some direction. Humans are built this way,
Yeah.
right? And without direction in our lives, I see a lot of people who feel lost. They come and tell me I'm lost, right? I hear that word a lot,
Mm.
right, at the moment. And I think a lot of that is because the foundation has been shaken. They've kind of had a different experience now. The world of work with technology, I mean, everyone's talking about AI and the impact it's going to have and various other things, is all going to make a difference, right? But there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things out of our control. So what we need to do is to make sure the things that are in our control, we can manage, right? But sometimes we don't even look at those things that are in our control, right? So for example, in our control is our health, right? We can focus on our health, our mental health, our physical health and well-being, our spiritual well-being. We can also look at, planning, where do we want to be living? What sort of work do we want to be doing, right? 3-5 years away from us. When I first started, as a psychologist about 20 odd years ago, we used to talk about long-term planning, right? Which was 20 years, 25 years, right? We don't talk about that far ahead. No one knows, right, what's going to happen. So long-term planning now for me is 3 to 5 years, right? And so we don't need to go too far out, but we can have a sense of a plan, some goals that we're trying to achieve. And the goals help us to feel like we're more in control, right? We're heading into a particular path. And I think that is super helpful. When we don't have clear goals, we can feel lost and disengaged, right? I was looking at a report the other day from CNBC, that said 70% of Americans, right, are unhappier in November last year than they were during the pandemic.
Unhappy.
More unhappy.
More unhappy,
right?
Wow.
Than they were in the pandemic. Okay? Can you imagine, right? It's been 3 years since the pandemic. People are unhappier. 70% are unhappier than they were in the pandemic. So what has happened, right? It's almost like we need to relearn a set of skills, right, to be able to manage this kind of environment that is so fluid, right, and dynamic. I think life seemed a bit more predictable, right, before the pandemic.
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't feel that way anymore, right?